I'm here to conduct a research on how reading skills can be improved in young Nigerian students, right? With from your own perspective as a teacher. So I want to assure you that every information you give me here is highly confidential and be used for education purposes. So you have a right to answer both correct or incorrect answer, as the case may be. Thank you so much. So what's your name, please, madam?
My name is Mrs. Onosidase.
Okay, how many years of teaching experience?
I've taught for 13 years now.
Okay, what's your current teaching level? Your year level?
I'm teaching basic 2, which is primary 1.
Primary 1?
Yes.
You say primary 1. So education specialist, what do you read in school?
I read accounting.
Accounting. Okay. Your highest level of degree?
HND.
Okay, HND.
Yes.
Language used in class?
English.
So I want to understand what you understand by reading. What can you tell us about reading?
Reading should be a child's ability to look at letters and be able to make sense out of it.
Okay. So how important is reading in the classroom?
I think reading should be the basic of teaching. Without reading, you can't do any other course.
Okay.
It's the groundwork in education. Even in maths, you have to read through it before you can.
Okay. What is your children's general reaction about reading?
Their reality reaction was
in class about reading. How do they react?
I wouldn't say it becomes normal.
Okay, they're just indifferent. They don't like reading or they
No, they do. They do. I think they like more of reading than.
Okay. So all your children, are they reading at the same level?
No, they're not.
So what percentage of children are not reading at all?
If I could put it on that percentage, I could say maybe 10. Not up to 10.
That are not reading
Out
at
of
all?
100.
Yeah, out of 100.
We're not reading at all. No, I don't have any that doesn't read at all.
All of them are reading?
Yes.
In primary 1?
Yes.
Okay, is the school aware of this percentage?
No, they're aware. School is aware.
So what do you think are the main challenges of students when it comes to reading?
Let's see, challenge. One would say, like, what I really would say is under reading, you have fluency issue. As in speed, reading speed. Not every child reads at the same speed, though they can read, but not at the same speed. What for challenge, I could say maybe you don't give more books for them to read, give them more time to read. Like those who used to have library time, spend more time in the library to read, give them to know the materials.
So how do you think teachers can overcome these problems, these challenges?
Like here, there are times we do reading weeks. We just dedicate a week for reading.
Okay.
Maybe give out time for reading, just mainly for reading. Spend more time on reading materials. Okay, we have lots of reading materials here. We have like that.
So from your own perspective as a teacher, what are your own current teaching methods in reading? In class, what you use in class to teach reading?
We use phonics here.
Okay, phonics approach. Which other one?
Phonics.
Okay, basically phonics.
Phonics.
Do you use that alphabetic approach?
Pronunciation.
Alphabetic approach. We have alphabetic approach. Synthetic phonics. Whole language. Which of them do you want?
We use phonics.
Okay, phonics. So why do you think it is effective in your class? Can you give me 5 reasons?
Sounds, pronunciation really is key to reading.
Okay.
Even with formation, definitely you still have formation. Formation helps also in reading, breaking down words and then breaking them into chunks to read. It's good with spellings.
Okay. Helps them in spelling.
Yes. Helps in spellings, helps in pronunciation.
Pronunciation.
Yes, helps in formation of words.
Thank you. So in your class, using this method, what is the best practice to improve reading?
You say practice to improve?
Yes. What are the best practices to enhance this reading?
Like I said earlier, it's more like creating more reading time.
Creating more reading time for them to read more and giving them more reading books.
And even besides, like if we have to go outside the school environment, even at home, we're encouraging them to encourage parents to buy books for their children. Like buy books for their children. The thing is, when there's fun in reading, not just making them feel they're in school to read academic work, like by giving them storybooks, it also enhances them, encourages them to read.
Okay, do you do one-on-one as in class? What is the practice that you use to improve this
And
reading?
we don't do one-on-one, we only sit with maybe the weak periods.
Okay.
We spend more time with those that are weak. Like I told you, we might have issue with, like in my own class, but I have issue with his fluency,
Okay.
speed.
Okay.
We give them time they read, but not at the speed of others.
Okay.
So it's spending more time with those who are not as fast as others, but you don't really sit one-on-one.
One-on-one. Okay, just to spend more time.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you hope to improve on this method of spending more time with the slow readers? What do you do to improve?
Like we have this, like put them on after school break.
Okay, after
We
school
spend
break.
more time with them after school and during break.
Okay. Okay. So how did you come across this method of teaching reading? Do you research, or you learn on your own, or you learn from the school?
I learned from the school.
What is the duration of the training?
It's almost we don't. It's more like a recurring thing.
Okay.
It's
Like
like
monthly.
we do it termly.
Okay.
At the beginning of every term, we run the training.
Do you ever create avenue for the children to learn, to build upon what you have taught before in reading? Maybe you allow them to ask questions that they don't understand in reading. Do you do that in your class? Okay. So, do you offer corrections?
Yes.
So, do you believe they actually understand any correction?
You only need to understand the correction after you ask them and they're giving you back what you.
Okay.
Yes.
So, how do you assess the level of reading in your class? Do you do any kind of testing, reading tests? What do you do to ascertain the level of reading?
We give them materials to read. Okay. They read individually and then you listen to them read.
Okay.
And that helps you gauge if the child can really get the exact the real ability of the child reads fluently, if the child reads fast. That's how when you call them to read with them, when you call them out to read individually, you now get their real ability. Because when you do group reading, so I just chew them out like others are. But when you call them out individually, then you get the real reading ability of each child.
Okay, there's no standardized testing
As
on reading, any known testing at all, none that you do in your school.
when you
Like
say
any reading test, named one. There's no.
like we have reading skills, those kind of tests. We do reading skills, literary works, all of those.
Like benchmark them. There's nothing to benchmark them to know their level. So, did you receive any particular test training on assessing their reading? Okay, more requirements will be needed for training. So, is there anything you need to share with us?
I'm reading.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
It's CHIDINMA AGBAI.
Okay.
So I'm here to conduct a research on how reading skills can improve in young children. So, can I know your name, please?
Okay, I'm Mrs. Odua Etel.
Okay. I'll show you that every information you give us here will be confidential and be used for academic purposes only. So you are free to answer yes or no, correct or incorrect, as the case may be. So, how many years of teaching experience do you have?
Yeah, it's 12 years now.
Okay, what grade level are you teaching?
Reception.
Okay, education specialty.
Yeah.
What's your
Mental education.
okay? Level of education.
Yes.
BA. Okay. Language and teaching.
English language.
So can we know more about reading? What do you understand by reading?
Oh, reading is the ability to use our sounds, okay, get words pronounced, and use the ability to use our sounds, pronouncing words, and all of that.
Okay, how do you think reading is important in the classroom?
very, very important. Very, very important. It can't be overemphasized. You can't do anything in the school environment, be what it may, without reading. Your maths, there's always an instruction. If you don't know how to read, you can't read and know what to do. You may have an idea, know the signs, but you may not know what exactly you are asked to do. So reading is very, very important in mathematics. Name the subject in school environment. Reading can't be achieved without reading, so you must know how to. It's very important. Yeah.
So what's your children's basic reaction about reading? When it gets to reading, what is their reaction in class?
They are very excited.
They are happy.
Yes, in this environment, the children, they are very excited. When it's time to read, you understand, yes. Except those ones who find reading challenge, you understand, find it challenging. That's they are kind of skeptical, but when you encourage them, you see the cheer, the happiness on their faces.
Okay. All of them, are they reading the same level?
No, not really. They have their different speeds at which they read.
Okay, what percentage of the children are not reading at all?
All the children in my class, they can read.
Okay,
It's just that they can all read. It's just at different levels. Yes. Some are more fluent than the others.
If you want to rate the percentage, 100, 90, 80, what can you do?
Let me say just 2%.
Okay, they are not reading.
Yes, 98 can read. Yes.
Is the school aware of the percentage?
Yes, they do.
Okay, what are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
There are challenges, like I said, you understand, I kind of pointed. When it comes to reading, it's the pronunciation of words.
Okay.
For those whom I told you that are not very fluent, they are not, they find it challenging to pronounce. You understand? Join the sounds, the different letters they make, and to assemble the different sounds. That's just the challenge. You understand? That's the only challenge I know I have picked. Yes, inability to assemble, join the sounds, different letters of the alphabet make, and say what it is. At times they may be close to the pronunciation, at times they are not. We guide them. That's it.
So what can you do as a teacher to help them to overcome these problems?
It's regular, doing it often. Like this environment, creates time for that. We do more of reading, and it's helping the weaker ones to see them coming up strong. We do more of reading. The proprietress believes in that so much, so she creates time. We have more of reading books, comprehension, all their English books, they have stories, they have also literature texts. So we do more of reading. In the morning, like a routine, they do parrot reading, where every child brings the book, depending on the teacher, you understand, put it before you, they do parrot reading, they read. So that's a way of also encouraging and improving it.
So now what is your own current teaching method in reading?
In reading?
The method you use in class.
The method we use in class, we use phonics.
Okay.
That's the major.
Which other one do you use?
Under the phonics, we have different ways. We use syllable, breaking words into syllables, chunks, you understand? And we also basically, these are the methods we use. Under it comes also dictation.
Do you use alphabetical approach?
Yes, we also use alphabetical approach also.
How about whole language?
Whole language. Do I have not?
How about synthetic phonics?
No. At least I've heard of them.
So among these ones, which one is the main effective? Is it the phonics?
The phonics.
So give me 5 reasons why you think so.
Yeah, phonics, because of the sound. That's what we use in music. Because of the sounds, you understand. Under the phonics, we have different, methods that we like I said, syllable. We also use it.
But why do you think it's very effective?
The one that is very, very effective.
Why do you think phonics is effective?
It is. We have seen the results.
Okay.
You know, like the syllable, it helps the children break words. And by breaking, it's helping them, you understand, to spell.
Okay.
No matter how long or
The
how
words
big,
are-
yes, is trying to use, syllable. You see them getting it. They break. You say education. Once you say that, you see them edu. You see them breaking and trying to spell. And in the long run, they get it. Even the weaker ones, it may take time, but once you allow them the time, at the end of the day, they get it. Yes. Sound it's very effective. Phonics, that's the one we use, and I have seen it to be very, very effective.
So how will you rate the performance of the students using this method? Is it 100%, 90, 50?
It's time. I think I would say 100 because it's working.
Okay.
The weaker ones with it, continuous usage also, they will peak. You understand? They peak. Like the percentage is dropping by the day, by the week. Let me not say day. By the week, it drops.
Okay.
You understand? Because of constant.
So what is the best practice that you're using to teach this phonics in class now? The best, how do you do it?
How I do it.
What is the best practice to enhance the teaching of reading using that your method?
We do dictation a lot.
Okay.
Dictation.
Okay.
We do it a lot.
Every day.
Every day of course in the timetable. Okay, every day there must be grammar, a subject that is related to English. It may not be grammar 1, the way we broke our English here. It may be comprehension. If it is not comprehension, it's literary. If it is, but they all are
You
under
do it
grammar.
every day.
Every day it appears on our timetable.
Okay.
So we do it every day. Any of these storybooks, we come across new words. And we give them the privilege, you understand, of looking at the words, we spell it together, and after everything, we close our books, we say let's spell, you understand, those words we have learned. And in spelling, you see them coming up, those who are not, but majority of them scores almost everything.
Okay.
Some, the weak ones, those that didn't, we still give them the words as a repetition to take home as homework. Go and learn the spellings, memorize them and all of that. We come the following day, before the English subject starts, we kind of do a speed test on it, repeating the previous work.
Okay.
So by so doing, you see that those who took their work home yesterday, some of them will actually work on it. Maybe just one that didn't work. And you see those ones too, they improve upon yesterday. So the dictation.
So how do you hope to improve on this your method?
It's
what
just,
are you going to improve on it? You know, everything we must improve.
yes. Because we've been seeing that these methods, some have been yielding results.
Yeah.
You understand? For now, it's been working until maybe I get a better method.
Okay.
For now, the dictation, the phonics, repetition, and all of it's been working. Parrot reading, it's been working. You understand? For now, I don't know of any method that will work better than this, except you tell me today. Yes, except you tell me today.
I'm not here to tell you. I'm here to learn from you. So now, did you come across this method? How did you come across this method? Did you research? You learned from somewhere on your own, or you were taught from the school?
Yeah, some of them in my course of university, we were told, you understand, and some of them also, the environment, being where I work at the school here, the proprietress, yes, taught me, you understand. And in my years of experience also, meeting the weak ones, at times I ask myself, what can I do better? You work to improve them, to help them improve on themselves. You understand? At times some ideas will just come, you understand, and I put it in place, add to what my proprietress and the little one I gained during my university days, and it's using.
So what's the duration of the training?
The duration of this training?
The one, as you gathered, learned about this reading. How long did it take you to learn about the reading?
In the class?
When you acquire the knowledge of reading,
Okay.
teaching reading, how long did it take you?
Let's say
1 month, 2 months. How long?
it didn't take long now. I can't specifically say. It's something you get and use immediately. You get and use immediately.
Like time frame up to 1 month.
Okay, let me just say 1 month. Let me just say 1 month. But I don't
In
think
your
it's
class, do you
not
create
that.
avenue for children to ask questions? Do they ask questions in your class?
Very well.
And to build up their former, what they have learned before?
Yes.
And do you provide corrections?
We believe in it here. As a matter of fact, if the proprietress of the school, you understand, is doing her weekly inspection, she does not see correction. She is very, very, very cross with whomsoever is the class teacher. You understand? We believe in correction because we have seen that it helps the children. And we don't just transit to another topic. There is a way we transit. You understand? You must make sure that the previous knowledge the children they have is there, as in is there. They've known it about the previous subject or topic. Let me use the word topic. They've known before you move ahead. If you see that response, you understand, it's like low. Through speed test, like I said when I told you about that will give speed tests to test most times on previous knowledge. Now, in the course of marking, and you discover that they didn't do well in the previous topic, here they give us room to take back that topic. You understand?
Okay.
Yes. So.
And I can assume that the children always understand the corrections, right? Based on what you're saying.
Yes, they do.
And what is the level of, how do you assess their reading? Do you do any testing to assess their reading? Any standardized testing or anything?
No, there's no standardized testing. The only thing we do is that maybe as a class teacher, at times in my own class, I call them one after the other to come and read to be sure. Because most times, some of them, the weak ones, they hide under the umbrella of the other people who are fluent, who are reading. You see, everybody are not reading. Everybody's mouth is moving. You understand? So you wouldn't know, but by the time you begin to test them by calling them one after the other, you will find out those who are not doing very well, and your concentration comes on such ones. So one of the standardized testing way is by individual doing it one after the other. You take this paragraph, you take this line, you take this, you understand? And at times we also test by dictation also.
How do you hope to improve on this method?
How I hope to improve, I really want to, you understand? I really want to improve on these methods.
But
Yes.
do you require any training?
If I require it,
on
if I know where to get myself trained.
On this assessment?
Yes, one thing I tell myself is keep getting better in this business, you understand, of helping our children. So if I see where I can improve on what I know, get new methods, I will. If you know any, please.
Thank you so much. I can see the zeal to teach and the love of reading. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you too. Thank you. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
I'm here to conduct a research on how English reading skills can be improved in young children in Nigeria. So I'm assuring you that every information given us here is highly confidential and be used for academic purposes. And thank you so much for signing that consent form. So may we know your name, please?
I'm Miss CHIDINMA.
You're welcome. So can we know your number of years of experience teaching?
I have 6 years of teaching experience.
Your current level, your grade level you teach?
Transition.
As the foundation class?
Nursery 3.
Okay, you can call it foundation. Your specialty? Your educational special, what did you read in school?
Education history.
Okay, education history. So your highest level of degree? What language do you teach in school?
English.
So can we know what you understand by reading?
Reading is something that is going through the write-up.
Okay.
in order to understand it and answer questions from it.
Okay. So how important is reading in your class?
Reading is very important because there is nothing you can do without reading. There is hardly any exam you can write now that is done verbally. You have to read and write. So for students to be able to do well, you have to learn how to read.
Okay. So what is your children's general reaction when it comes to reading in your class? How do they feel about reading?
They're always very enthusiastic.
Okay.
They see a new book, they're eager to start reading. Even if they don't know what to read, they just want to make an attempt.
Okay.
They're always very excited.
When it comes to reading. So all of them, are they reading at the same level?
No, they don't.
What percentage are not reading at all?
It's like 2%.
2%. Which means 98% of the students are reading.
Yes.
Is the school aware of this percentage?
Yes.
So what are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
The main challenge is pronouncing the words, because at times there are some words that can't be pronounced using sounds.
Okay.
Some have alphabetical sounds. So if you're not able to differentiate, you're not able to pronounce it very well.
So how can you, as a teacher, help children to overcome this problem?
Well, what I do is that when I want to read, first of all, I run down the passage on my own while they look at it. Then when I'm done, we do parrot reading. I read, they repeat after me while they point at the words. Then at the end of the day, I break them into groups. I mean, ask the girls to read, or the boys to read, or children in a particular row to read. If I get down to individual level, because some children are very shy. If you go straight to asking a child to read, the child may not be able to read because the child is shy or is afraid of not getting it right. So you first of all group them, when they have read as a group, break them to get to the individual level. So that's how you can go to know whether the child can read or not.
What is your own current teaching method in reading? Which approach do you use in class?
I use, like I told you earlier, there's some words that you can't pronounce using sounds. We use phonic reading here, but I also use alphabetic method because, like I said before,
Based
some
on your
words.
foundation.
Yes.
Okay, so you use two methods. Okay, so why do you think, give me 5 reasons why they're so effective? The alphabetical approach and the phonics approach. Why are they just 5 reasons why they're effective in your class?
Because most words today you get them from sounds, and being that they've done sounds in their lower levels, they can just look at a word and even when they cannot pronounce it generally, you can tell the child what is the name letter, can you sound it? The child starts sounding the word, and before you know, the child is able to pronounce the word very well. And because when we do phonics, we don't just do the sound alone, we also look at the meaning of the word. So it helps us to develop the children's vocabulary. So even when they see something that is not in their level, they can attempt to read it because they know how to get this spelling right. Well, the truth is that the phonic method is more effective than the alphabetic method. Everybody is more concerned about the children speaking right because you want them to be able to mix up with outsiders and not feel timid or inferior. So when your child is able to pronounce words well at this stage, you don't have any problem when the child grows up.
So what are your best practice that will improve this reading? The best, if you come to your class now, what you do you understand to improve the reading of the children?
Like I told you, I always ask them whatever word, whenever we are reading, they must point.
Okay, point to read.
Yes.
Okay.
So while they are pointing, they
every word.
Yes, they point at every word.
To read.
Yes.
Okay, why do you think it's good? And how do you want to improve on this method?
It's good because as they're reading, they're looking at the spellings. And I always tell them at the end of the reading period, we're going to do tests. Dictation.
Okay.
So while they're pointing, they're looking at the spelling and they're getting it. Because once we're done with that, they're going to do it on their own.
Okay. So, how did you come across this method? You learned it on your own, the school, or you researched? The school taught you?
Somehow I realized that children, whenever they're doing anything and their hands are not occupied, they easily get distracted. So if you don't let them point and read, their hands are going to be doing something else. And while they're doing whatever they're doing, they're not going to pay attention. So the best is let them point while they are pointing, their mind is there. Everything about them is there.
So how did you learn about this reading?
Well, individually I discovered it.
Okay, on your own.
I've dealt a lot with children.
Okay.
And also in the school. Yes,
From
I
the
learned
school.
from the school.
So what is the duration of the training? How long did it take you?
I can't say precisely because I'm a bit new here, so we've not really done a lot of trainings.
How long did it take you to learn about reading on your own?
Read my, let me say,
Months?
a month or thereabouts. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so in your class, you offer opportunity for them to ask questions
Yes, we do that.
or build up on what they learned before.
We ask questions. Like when we read a particular passage now, I'll explain some of the words there, and then I ask them if there's any that they don't understand. They can ask you what's this, and then give them a definition. Once we get up, we take the dictionary, we look up the words, the meaning of the words in the dictionary.
That's wonderful at a foundation class. So, how about, do you really think they understand all these corrections? When you give them corrections, do they understand them?
Yes, they do, because you know that learning is a continuous thing. We don't just read and done. We read. Tomorrow we can go back and revisit the passage again. So even if we don't revisit it, and we just pick up questions from what we just did and throw it at them.
So how do you assess the level of reading in your class? Like the foundation class, how do you get the level?
Like I said earlier, while after reading, we read as a class. Then I break them into groups until we get to the individual level. So I'm able
Is
to
there any
know.
particular testing you do? Any standardized
Yes, I
testing?
do. I ask them to read on their own. The child can give the child to read on his or her own. Then at the end of the day, I can just pick some sentences or some aspects of the reading, give them as test, and know whether they're able to.
And the test does not have name. No name for the test.
Particular name. We usually call it speed testing.
So how do you hope to improve on the reading, on the assessment?
Most times we learn by experience. So with my constant communication with them, I'm able to know whether this method is really helping me or I need to do something better. And also I do interact with other teachers, so I can learn one or two things that can help me.
So do you acquire any relevant training as regards to assessment of reading? No. So you might need a training.
Yes.
So is there anything you might tell us about reading or how to improve the reading in young children in Nigeria? Is there anything, apart from the questions I asked you, what can you tell us?
I feel that parents should just, apart from because most parents just leave it to school. It's when they go to school they should do everything there. But children should also have time to read at home.
Okay.
Even during, especially during weekends, because they tend to play with
It's too
everything
much.
during weekends. So I think parents should have like a library time for their kids at home. So it may not be a long passage, but something that can make them remember that you have to be in school next tomorrow. So you have to be prepared for going to school.
Okay.
So that's what I think.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chidinma. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm Mrs. CHIDINMA, AGBAI. So I'm here to conduct a research on how English reading skills can be improved in young Nigerian children in Nigeria. So every information you give us here is highly confidential and will be used specifically for academic purposes. So you have a right to answer correct or incorrect answer, yes or no. Yes, as the case may be. So may we know your name, please?
My name is Mrs. Humbling Benwoke.
Okay. So how many years of experience do you have?
7 years now.
Okay. So your teaching grade level, what class do you teach?
Foundation.
Foundation. So your educational specialty, what do you read in school?
Education precisely.
Okay. Highest level of degree?
NCE.
In National Certificate of Education.
Yes, ma'am.
Language used in teaching?
Is English.
So can you tell us briefly what you understand by reading?
Yeah, reading is a way of getting information or meaning from text. But concerning the lower class, I can simply put it is a way of getting orally meaning from text.
So
Yes.
how do you think, how is reading important in your classroom?
It helps to stimulate intellectual development in a child.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So can you tell us generally what's the students' general reaction as regards to reading?
They're always excited to read, for them to get words together and pronounce a word.
Okay.
Yes.
In your class, that's the general reaction.
Yes, ma'am.
So they love reading.
Yes.
Okay. So all of them, are they reading at the same level?
Not really.
Okay. Not really.
Yes.
So if no, what are the percentage that are not reading at all?
10.
They are not reading at all. 10% are not reading at all.
Yes.
Or 90. 90 is reading.
Yes, 90 is reading, then 10 is not.
And foundation class. That is
Yes.
okay. So is the school aware of the percentage?
Yes.
So what are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
Yeah, the ability for them to recognize their T-graph in a word.
Okay, as regards to foundation class.
Yes.
So they are still struggling with their graphs.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what have you done to overcome these challenges?
Yes, by using available resources like the charts, flashcards, audio, visual tapes, and make it a routine for them to play with it and see it every now and then to get familiar with those words, with those sounds.
Okay, okay. So tell us more things that you do for them to overcome the challenges.
Yes, like I was saying, using the materials, all materials available, make it as a routine, like their morning training. Every time they come to school in the morning, after the circle time, in our school, that is what we have a circle time.
Okay.
Yeah, teaching them everything that they need to know at their age.
Okay.
Then we go into class by using the flashcard
Okay.
for them to identify. The teacher say they repeat after the teacher. They're using the flashcard. We now play audio videos.
Okay.
When it's being played, they get to see the sounds.
Okay, as they are.
Yes, as they are. By then, even most of them, if they are playing, they read, they sing along.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you also use audio visuals and
Yes.
you use sing-along ways
Yes.
to help them to overcome this
Challenge.
Okay, thank you so much. So what are
You're
your
welcome.
current teaching methods in school, in
Yes.
your class? As regards to your foundation, what are your current teaching methods?
Yes, I use simplistic phonics
Okay,
approach to teach them.
okay.
Yes.
How about alphabetic?
Yes, syntaxis goes with alphabet.
Okay. So
It's
tell
not
us
based on-
more about the synthetic that you use.
Yes, syntaxis help children to identify their sounds
Okay.
as well as their alphabets.
Okay.
And again, it helps them to always easy for them to comprehend.
Okay.
And it helps them to blend words, sounds together in order to produce the word.
Okay.
And it helps them to develop a self-confidence
Okay.
in reading,
Okay.
which is the most crucial thing they need to know.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now, I know we also have alphabetic approach, whole language approach, synthetic phonics approach, and the main phonics approach. Amongst all these ones, which one do you think is the most effective in your class?
Yeah, I use syntaxis like just I said.
Synthetic phonics.
Yes.
Can you give me 5 reasons why you like synthetic phonics?
Easy to identify,
Okay.
easy to comprehend,
Okay.
easy to blend.
Okay.
It's always easy to blend, and
These are just 3 of
Yeah.
two more reasons.
again, it helps them to be smart.
Okay.
Yes, it helps them to read at their tender age.
Okay, read confidently.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, smart and read confidently. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So now, how will you rate the performance of the students using this approach?
100%.
100. Wow.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So no person, you cannot say that it's not helping any child.
It's
Even the
helping
struggling.
all.
Okay.
It helps all.
Okay. So in your class, what do you do in your class? What is the best practice to enhance this teaching reading in your class? Teaching of reading, what is your best practice using this your method that you
Yes.
said, what is your best part? What do you do in the morning every day to enhance the teaching of reading?
Yes. Firstly, as a teacher, you have to be a good model.
Okay.
You have to make your children to see you read.
Okay.
Not only coming out to teach them, but as well in your later time, you have to make it a practice that they see you holding a book and reading. And again, you have to read that to them. Because most of the books are story books. Yes, you read a lot, you read for them to see it is not just mere things you put and pronounce. Yes, it's something that you can get a word. Like I said, that reading is helping you to get meaning. Yes, at times when they read it, they may not get the meaning. But when you read that to them, it helps them to know actually that there is a meaning. That this text you are pronouncing has a meaning.
Okay.
And again, there are words they may not understand. And you as a teacher, you have to split the words and tell them the meaning of those words, so that as they read along, come across the word, they will know the meaning.
Okay, that's good. That's great. So why do you think is a good way? This is your method. Why do you think is a good way? It's the best practice to improve on the reading. And also, what have you done to improve yourself on this?
Yes, this method, I have tried it and it works. So that is why I know that this is the best method ever.
Okay, it has been working over the years.
Yes, it has been working. As I said, I have 7 years of teaching experience, so it works.
So how do you hope to improve on this? This your particular practice?
Yeah, by going more into research,
Okay.
not only based on what I know already, but going to know more if others are using it, and to see other methods or ways that I can improve more on it.
So how did you come across this your method? Did you learn by yourself, or you researched, or the school taught you?
It's a training I got from this. They always teach us on how to train children. Yeah, how to simulate them to read. So that is and there is always a constant training for teachers based on this.
Okay. So what's the duration of your training?
Like as I say, it's always on constant training. They don't train and leave you to be. They keep training you every now and then
Okay.
to make sure that you improve.
Okay. So do you create avenues for students to ask questions in your class?
Yes, ma'am. They are children. They're always curious. They want to know more. So you have to give them the opportunity to do so.
Okay. Do you try to build up on their knowledge, what they have learned before you start any lesson reading class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, do you offer corrections or feedback after the end of every reading class?
Yes, we do.
Do you think they grasp the correction?
Yes.
Okay.
They
How
do.
did you know?
Yes, because by the next time, or even within themselves, you find out that they will not make those mistakes in which they made before.
Okay. So how do you assess the level of reading of your students in the class?
By their reading abilities.
Okay, so how? Is there any particular test that you do? Reading tests or any standardized particular test that the school has brought out for you to assess the reading in your class?
Yes, by their reading ability, the ability to read without getting to know their sight words
Okay.
and
Okay, I can
their
see
voice.
there's no standardized test that you're using.
Okay.
Okay. So now, did you receive any particular training for assessing the level of reading? No.
No.
Okay, still need more training.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything that you can share with us? So I will let us know on how you will improve the reading of your children in your class.
No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is CHIDINMA AGBAI. So I'm here to do a research on how English reading skills can be improved in young Nigerian children. So I can assure you that any information you give us here is highly confidential and will be used specifically for academic purposes. And you have a right to say incorrect or correct answers, right? And yeah, feel free to air your views here. And also, I want to thank you for signing the consent form. Thank you so much. Do we know your name?
Sorry, my name is Mama Gifted.
Okay. So what's your number of years of teaching experience?
3 years.
3 years. Current teaching grade level.
Okay, that's KG2.
Is what class? Now reception.
Light reception.
Okay. So your educational specialty.
NC.
NCE. Highest level of degree.
That's
NCE now.
NCE.
Okay. So what is your specialization in this NCE?
English education.
English education. Then what language do you use in teaching children?
English.
So we need to find out what you understand by reading. Can you tell us briefly what you understand by reading?
Okay, it can be defined as a process of a written text
Okay.
or symbols in a print by making meaning or interpretations from it.
Okay.
Now we understand by what reading is.
Okay. How important is reading in your classroom?
Okay, reading is very, very important because it helps the child, one, to understand what is being written and to be able to communicate fluently with his peers, whether in the classroom or outside the classroom. And it helps the child to stand out with his peers when he goes out.
Okay.
And it gives the child the confidence and the boldness to speak while others are speaking. So that's why I understand that reading is very, very important.
What do you think are your your students' general reaction as regards to reading?
Their general reaction.
Yeah.
Their reaction is that at times they try to like adjust in speaking or to understand what is all about. So it's better for you as a teacher to like bring it down to their level so that they'll be able to put themselves into the system. Though some do respond negatively and some do respond positively. So you as a teacher, you need to understand the strength and the weakness of the child to be able to reach out to the child.
Okay. So are all your children, all your students reading at the same grade level?
Yeah.
So what percentage are not reading?
Okay, 40% those that are not reading.
Okay, 40%. Then 60% are
Yes.
reading, okay, in your class. So is the school aware of the percentage?
Yes, the school is aware.
So what are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
The main challenge is that they find it difficult to like one to pronounce the word and secondly to make interpretations. From it. Because when they struggle to like to say the word or to read the sentences. So you as a teacher, what you do is you have to like break it down for them, and for them to you have to like
Break it to their level.
bring it to their level for them to understand and for them to interpret that written text in order for them to put it into practice very well.
So what are you doing? What are you doing to really overcome these challenges?
What I do is that I have to ensure that because each child, because they all go individual differences, so you want to work according to their pace,
Okay.
to be able to reach out to them, know the strengths, like what I said earlier, to know the strengths and the weakness of the child, so you're able to know how to reach out to Mr. A, to Mr. B, in order to achieve that goals in them.
Okay. So now, what do you think are your current teaching methods as regards to reading?
Okay, phonics method.
Okay, you're using phonics method. Okay. Is that the only method you use in your class?
That's the method I can say I can use to reach out to those that are really, how I put it, struggling to like come up.
Okay, do you use alphabetic approach, whole language approach, phonics approach, then synthetic phonics approach? Which one? You are saying that it's only phonics approach that you are using.
Phonics approach.
Okay, so why do you think so? Or why do you think, give us more details about this phonics approach that you use in class?
What I think so is that because this phonics approach, looking at it, it helps the child and it goes a long way. When you use it the right way in the child, it goes a long way and it helps the child to do very, very well in the class. Because once the child gets to like, because the preschool or the KG1 is the period is that at least the child should be used to like the simple sound. He or she should be able to know how to sound it. Then gradually the child enters the consonant clusters and we have the C, if it has the consonant vowel and the vowel consonant. So gradually then you start making sentences, forming words, making sentences with those words. Then you involve the storybooks. Based looking at the grade of the child, you bring in storybooks. So you bring in the storybooks, then you guide the child, you assist the child, you help the child blending those words, because there are some people that they prefer cramming, and that cramming does not help the child, because at the end of the day, you see them, some may get it, some may not be able to get it, but it doesn't help at all. The cramming does not help. So you help the child to blend, even if when they see a longer word, they'll be able to, with the help of that blending and the sound which they've known, they'll be able to pronounce that word, and you see them reading very well and accurately.
Okay, so now, give me 5 reasons why you think that this phonics approach is effective in your class.
The 5 approaches are.
5 reasons.
Okay, 5 reasons.
Why you think phonics approach, as you said, is very effective in your class?
It's very effective and very important in my class is that 1, it helps the child to know the single sound. The single sound, then the child goes to the consonant cluster, as I said, and the other sound. And secondly, it helps the child to be able to read very well, even if the child is not there, or the parents of the child is not there. And it's when the child come across that way, okay, I can blend it, black or beautiful. The child will be able to know how to blend that through. And again, it helps the child to segment the words. A longer or shorter word, the child will be able to break it down, segment the word. Even if the teacher is there or nobody is there, the child believes that yes, I can do it by myself because I understand my sound. I know how to go about this because I know my sound very well. And thirdly or fourthly, it helps it gives the child the confidence to read, because the sound has to go with diction too, because the child is able to read fluently, the child is able to read accurately, the child is able to pronounce the word confidently that I can say it or I can do it by myself without the assistance of anybody. And fifthly, it helps the child to put down what he or she has read, having the understanding that okay, I know how to listen, I can write it down, I can pen it down. So
what are the best practice to enhance this teaching of reading? What do you think are the best practice to enhance the teaching of reading in your class? What do you do in your class to improve this reading?
This reading, I look more into sounds.
Okay.
I look more into sound because some children, they are likely to forget some strategies. When you come today, they'll give it to, but tomorrow they might forget it. So what I wish that I repeat that sounds every day. Let it become part of them. Let them be used to it. That in case they go out, even if you are not there, they'll be able to do it very well. And even if you just get a storybooks to them, you'll be able to read it. Having that knowledge of that sound which you're giving to them, you'll be able to understand it. So I wish that I look into sounds, more on sounds, more on reading, more on spellings. Like that's why we have the tricky words. So we look into more of that.
Okay, every day. So now, why do you think so? And what have you done to improve this method? Why do you think that your practice is good? And what have you done to improve on this method?
It's very good because as a teacher, it helps me to know how to reach out to the child. It helps me to know like I said, the strength and the weakness of the child, the area the child is not doing well. So that I as a child will be able to know how to work with the child. Because we have
I'm Mrs. CHIDINMA AGBAI. So I'm here to do a research on how English reading skills can be improved in young Nigerian children. So I can assure you that any information you give us here is highly confidential and will be used specifically for academic purposes. And you have a right to say incorrect or correct answers, right? And yeah, feel free to air your views here. And also, I want to thank you for signing the consent form. Thank you so much. Do we know your name?
My name is Ms. Gifted.
Let's speak louder, please.
Sorry, my name is Mama Gifted.
Okay. So what's your number of years of teaching experience?
3 years.
3 years. Current teaching grade level? NC. No. Current teaching grade level, that is the class you're teaching.
Okay, that's KG2.
That is what class? Now reception?
Light reception.
Okay. So your educational specialty? NC. Highest level of degree?
That's
NCE now. Okay. So what is your specialization in this NCE?
English education.
English education. Then what language do you use in teaching children?
English.
So we need to find out what you understand by reading. Can you tell us briefly what you understand by reading?
Okay. Reading can be defined as a process. Reading can be defined as a process of reading can be defined as a process of a written text
Okay.
or symbols in a print by making meaning or interpretations from it.
Okay.
Now we understand by what reading is.
Okay. How important is reading in your classroom?
Okay, reading is very, very important because it helps the child, one, to understand what is being written and to be able to communicate fluently with his peers, whether in the classroom or outside the classroom. And it helps the child to stand out with the spirit when he goes out.
Okay.
And it gives the child the confidence and the boldness to speak while others are speaking. So that's why I understand that reading is very, very important.
What do you think are your your students' general reaction as regards to reading?
Their general reaction.
Yeah.
Their reaction is that at times they try to like adjust in speaking or to understand what is all about. So it's better for you as a teacher to like bring it down to their level so that they'll be able to put themselves into the system. Though some do respond negatively and some do respond positively. So you as a teacher, you need to understand the strength and the weakness of the child to be able to reach out to the child.
Okay. So are all your children, all your students reading at the same grade level?
Yeah.
So what percentage are not reading?
Okay, 40% for those that are not reading.
Okay, 40%. Then 60% are
Yes.
reading, okay, in your class. So is the school aware of the percentage?
Yes, the school is aware.
So what are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
The main challenge is that they find it difficult to like one to pronounce the word and secondly to make interpretations. From it. Because when they struggle to like to say the word or to read the sentences. So you as a teacher, what you do is you have to like break it down for them and for them to you have to like
Break it to their level.
bring it to their level for them to understand and for them to interpret that written text in order for them to put it into practice very well.
So what are you doing? What are you doing to really overcome these challenges?
What I do is that I have to ensure that because each child, because they all go individual differences, so you want to work according to their pace,
Okay.
to be able to reach out to them, know the strengths, like what I said earlier, to know the strengths and the weakness of the child, so you're able to know how to reach out to Mr. A, to Mr. B, in order to achieve that goals in them.
Okay. So now, what do you think are your current teaching methods as regards to reading?
Okay, phonics method.
Okay, you're using phonics method. Okay. Is that the only method you use in your class?
That's the method I can say I can use to reach out to those that are really, how I put it, struggling to like come up.
Okay, do you use alphabetic approach, whole language approach, phonics approach, then synthetic phonics approach? Which one? You are saying that it's only phonics approach that you are using.
Phonics approach.
Okay, so why do you think so? Or why do they give us more details about this phonics approach that you use in class?
What I think so is that because this phonics approach, looking at it, it helps a child and it goes a long way when you use it the right way in the child. It goes a long way and it helps the child to do very, very well in the class. Because once the child gets like, because the preschool or the KG1 is the period is that at least the child should be used to like the simple sound. He or she should be able to know how to sound it. Then gradually the child enters the consonant clusters and we have the C if it has the consonant vowel and the vowel consonant. So gradually then you start making sentences, forming words, making sentences with those words. Then you involve the storybooks. Based looking at the grade of the child, you bring in storybooks. So you bring in the storybooks, then you guide the child, you assist the child, you help the child in blending those words because there are some people that they prefer cramming, and that cramming does not help the child because at the end of the day you see them some may get it, some may not be able to get it, but it doesn't help at all. The cramming does not help. So you help the child to blend, even if when they say a longer word, they'll be able to with the help of that blending and the sound which they've known, they'll be able to pronounce that word, and you see them reading very well and accurately.
Okay, so now, give me 5 reasons why you think that this phonics approach is effective in your class.
The 5 approaches are.
5 reasons.
Okay, 5 reasons.
Why you think phonics approach, as you said, is very effective in your class?
It's very effective and very important in my class is that one, it helps the child to know the single sound. The single sound, the child goes to the consonant cluster, as I said, and the other sound. And secondly, it helps the child to be able to read very well, even if the child is not there, or the parents of the child is not there. And it's when the child come across that way, okay, I can blend it, black or beautiful. The child will be able to know how to blend that through. And again, it helps the child to segment the words. A longer or shorter word, the child will be able to break it down, segment the word. Even if the teacher is there or nobody is there, the child will believe that yes, I can do it by myself because I understand my sound. I know how to go about this because I know my sound very well. And thirdly or fourthly, it helps it gives the child the confidence to read because the sound has to go with diction too, because the child is able to read fluently, the child is able to read accurately, the child is able to pronounce the word confidently that I can say it or I can do it by myself without the assistance of anybody. And fifthly, it helps the child to put down what he or she has read, having the understanding that okay, I know how to listen, I can write it down, I can pen it down. So
what are the best practice to enhance this teaching of reading? What do you think are the best practice to enhance the teaching of reading in your class? What do you do in your class to improve this reading?
This reading, I look more into sounds.
Okay.
I look more into sound because some children they are likely to forget some strategies. When you come today, they'll give it to, but tomorrow they might forget it. So what I make sure that I repeat that sounds every day. Let it become part of them. Let them be used to it. That in case they go out, even if you are not there, they'll be able to do it very well. And even if you just get a storybooks to them, you'll be able to read it. Having that knowledge of that sound which you're giving to them, you'll be able to understand it. So I make sure that I look into sounds, more on sounds, more on reading, more on spellings. Like that's why we have the tricky words. So we look into more of that.
Okay, every day. So now, why do you think so? And what have you done to improve this method? Why do you think that your practice is good? And what have you done to improve on this method?
It's very good because as a teacher, it helps me to know how to reach out to the child. It helps me to know like I said, the strength and the weakness of the child, the area the child is not doing well. So that I as a child will be able to know how to work with the child. Because we have individual.
Every morning, what do you do? How do you do it?
Okay, just must ensure that we look more on sounds. We look into it more, we sound it over and over again, and forming words from it, making sentences with it as well. So we must make sure that we look into sounds every time, every day. Let it become part of them. Let it become so that in case, or it's not about being not in case anyway. Let me say, whereby they're asked to read, they'll be able to okay, this is sound that I've come across in this particular area. Okay, I'm saying it here. Then the child is confidently having the boldness to go through it, to read it, without the assistance of any person. I want to make sure that the practice of sounds
is done every day. So how do you hope to improve on this your method? What do you want to? In everything you must improve every other day. So what do you do to improve on this your method of improving the sound practice every day?
Okay, I must make sure that I also go to meet others who are also used to the sound. Yes, who also have an idea of it.
Okay.
Ask questions. Okay, how do you go about this area?
Okay.
Let me flow the way you also flow.
So that it can improve.
Yes.
So how did you come across this method? Did you learn on your own? Or you researched, or you were trained by the school? So what was the duration of the training?
It should be 10.
At 10, then 3 months, right?
Yes.
So do you create opportunities for students to ask questions in your class? Okay. So do you build on their previously learned lessons on reading? Okay. Do you offer corrections or feedback to tag the students' ability at the end of every reading class? Do you believe that your students always understand any correction given? How do you assess the level of reading of your students in the class? Like the level of reading in your class, you say your class is a reception. How do you assess their reading? Do you do any reading tests? Is there any particular standardized tests that you do to assess, to know the level of their reading?
Assessing them or evaluating them, like through the help of these reading books anyway, at least it will help me to know, because the child that's like what I said, like 40% of children that are not like flowing well, I cannot go and get a higher book and give to them. That's okay, read, no forcing them. No. It's a gradual process anyway. So I must make sure I get a book to their of their level and give to them. At least that will make me to know, okay, this child is on with this particular book. Okay, I'm to get another grade of book to that is a bit higher than this one and give to the child.
So now these levels, reading levels book that you're using for assessment, are they graded?
Yeah.
They have level by level, but there are no assessment tests inside the books.
Yeah.
Okay. So now do you require any further training on assessing reading level of children?
Do I require it?
Yes, because you don't have any relevant training on it, have you?
No.
You don't have any training on assessing children.
No.
Okay, so now you need further training on this. Okay. Is there anything you need to tell us about this reading? How to improve reading with children?
What I want to say is that the phonics approach is, to me, I don't know about others anyway, for me it goes a long way. And by God's grace tomorrow I have my own children, I'll prefer using that approach because I said that using that approach, it helps the child. And it goes a long way in the child. I remember in my school days, we were not taught this phonics of the thing. I was just cramming work, hey, I was being forced to like read this particular thing. Though a particular method was not given or was not followed. So I suggest that this phonics approach should be involved or
Used very well.
very well. Yes.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm Mrs. CHIDINMA AGBAI. So I'm here to ask some questions or research on how English reading skills of young Nigerian children can be improved. Do you understand? So every information you give us here is highly confidential and be used for academic purposes only. And I urge you to feel free to say yes or no, accurate or inaccurate answer. It doesn't mean. So it's your opinion that we are asking based on your perspective. That's why we're doing this research. So now, can we know your name, please?
My name is Miss Beatrice JJK.
Okay, so what's your number of years of teaching experience?
5 years experience.
Your current teaching grade level? Your class?
Year 1.
Okay, year 1. Educational specialty, what did you read?
Okay, I read estate management.
Okay, so what is your highest level of degree?
BSc.
Okay, language used in teaching?
English language.
Okay, so what do you understand by reading?
Reading generally is what we use to teach. Reading, it makes the children understand exactly what you are trying to impact in them. When a child is reading, it helps the children, it builds up their intellect. So reading is very important in schools. So I think reading should always be encouraged because it helps children to build up their intellect. Yes.
So why do you think reading is important in your classroom?
Reading is very, very necessary because it helps the children to understand exactly what we are talking about, and it helps them to understand English language because generally in English language, in reading, English language is mostly used. So when a child is reading, is really develop their intellect. So reading is very, very necessary. I think it's quite encouraged.
Okay, what are your students' general reaction?
To reading?
Yeah.
The children are always very excited whenever they are reading. They are always very, very happy. They love reading because reading is fun. So they enjoy reading very, very well.
Are all your students reading at a particular level, the same grade level?
No, we have different levels. Some are reading quite more than others.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes, but we don't have the least among them. They're all reading, but their level is not really the same.
What percentage of your children are not reading at all?
Majority of them are reading very, very well. But I can say that like 10% of them, they are reading also, but their fluency are not really there like others. So like 10%.
Is the school aware of the percentage?
The school, yes, the school is aware.
What are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
The main challenge the children are having in reading will be one, the vocabulary. Maybe they are not really pronouncing the word very well. Secondly, some children are not really built up from foundation.
Okay.
So it makes them scared whenever they hear reading. So I think that's what I can say now.
Okay, what are you doing as a teacher to overcome these problems?
The most important thing is to really build up the confidence in them. Telling them that reading is fun, let them see it, let them always enjoy it. But as a teacher, you have to be very, very smart, helping the children to see that reading is not as difficult as they think, that reading is fun. So you read with them, you chat with them, you try to explain the passage very well, you bring it down to their level so that it will make the children to feel exactly what the passage is talking about. And when they really feel you the way you are explaining it, their intellect will start building and they will start seeing reading as a funny aspect of learning.
Okay. So now, what is your current teaching method in reading? In your class?
In my class, I think I use guided reading method. The guided reading method, whereby I bring up the children together with me. We sit circle in a class, so that whatever the words, I will be reading it line by line, words by words, trying to explain each of the words gradually for them to understand it. Any difficulty they are finding, so I will try to explain it. Any vocabulary there, I will bring it down to their lowest level so that they can understand it. So after the reading, I explain. After explaining, I'll ask them questions. So they will answer and we continue. So it helps them to read along with me.
Okay, I understand there is also alphabetical approach, phonics approach, synthetic phonics approach, and then a whole language approach. So which of them do you normally use?
I use the synthetic approach.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, join with your guided reading.
Join with my guided reading, yes.
Okay, so can you give me 5 reasons why you think it is effective in your class?
I can say that synthetic approach is quite good because it helps the children to identify. It also helps the children to comprehend easily.
Okay.
It also helps the children, makes them smart. Anytime they see reading, they are smart enough to approach it. And also it builds up their intellect.
Okay.
Yes, they feel free to read.
Okay.
They feel free. They are always, have confidence and have the eagerness to
It builds up their confidence.
Yes.
So now, how will you rate the performance of your students using this method?
How I can rate it?
Percentage, 10, 20, 30. How do you rate the performance of this method?
I can say above 60% man.
Okay.
Yes, above 60%.
So we want to try to identify the best practice to enhance the teaching of reading. So what is your best practice in class to improve reading?
The best practice?
And what you do to enhance this your synthetic phonics? What you do normally every morning to improve on this your method?
Okay. I use in the morning.
Like as you come to your school,
Yes.
what is your best practice when it comes to reading? Teaching children how to read. how do you go about it?
Okay. The most important thing is that first of all, I have to get to read what I will give them.
Okay.
Okay, I will read it first, read it
On
and
your
understand
own.
it, yes. So that I cannot really pass on what I don't know.
Mhm.
So I will get to read it, understand it, then I will now call the children together. We read together. After reading together, I ask them to read. After reading on their own, then I will explain it more. I will explain it in such a way that they will understand what they've read. Then after, we'll all read together for the last time so that they will understand the passage more.
So now, how do you hope to improve on this method?
Consistent
Practice.
practice, yes.
On your own or
On my own and on the children together.
How did you come across this method? Did you learn on your own, or you researched, or the school taught you?
Yes. Really, I read some, but I was also taught. Yes, the school taught me on some aspect of it, and I also do some research on my
Research on
own.
your own.
Yes.
Okay, so what was your duration of the training? How long did it take you?
The training continues.
So how long you must have a time frame when you know that you're now sound in this reading, teaching of reading. How long? A month, 2 months, 3 months? How long do you think?
It takes like 4 months plus.
For you to grasp?
Yes.
So do you create opportunities for students to ask questions in your class?
Wow. Yes.
And, or to build up on their formerly learned things on reading?
No, children must always ask 2 questions. Yes, because it helps them a lot. If they don't ask questions, that means they're not really getting it right.
And do you
So I
offer
create opportunities.
operations?
Yes. Whenever they ask me questions, I create opportunities, for them to ask questions and I correct them.
Do you think
Wherever
they
they are
understand
not.
these corrections?
They do, because
How
after
do you know?
yes, you will see them smiling. You will know that they really understand it. They will keep talking about it. So I think they really understand it. And when and at a point, you go back to ask them the same question they ask you.
Okay.
So you find out
To make sure that
yes.
okay.
So you find out they will answer the question back again to you.
So what do you think is your how do you assess the level of reading your children? Do you do any kind of standardized test or reading test or reading assessment? What do you do to ascertain the level of their reading?
Lots of times we do assessments. Yes, we do lots of assessment because there's no way you can be teaching a child without assessing them. So you do assessment to ensure that the children are really understanding what you taught them. So each time after much readings, you share the class, you assess the children based on their understanding because their levels are quite different. So you assess them based on their levels. So to make sure that the children really understand what you are teaching them.
This assessment, does it have name? Do you have the name of the assessment of the reading assessment? No name. Okay, so did you receive any particular training for assessing the level of children? Level of reading?
Their level of
Is there
reading.
any particular training that you received on how to assess reading?
Yes, the school also taught us on how to
Assess reading.
assess the children's reading. Yes.
So, do you require more training on this?
Yes. I think I need more of it. It helps me grow more.
Is there anything that you want to tell us about reading or how to improve reading in young children?
Just to round it up, reading is fun. Reading is quite interesting. Children are meant to encourage to read because as a child, if your child is reading, it gives you confidence. Also as parent, so I understand as a teacher also that reading is very, very interesting. So every child is supposed to know how to read because it will help them wherever they find themselves. They will have the confidence to associate with other children and their peers without being shy. Okay, so reading helps. And in academics, reading also broadens their understanding. So anywhere they find themselves, they will feel relaxed they get to learn more when they are reading. The more you read, the more you learn. So it makes them great scholars. So reading is very, very interesting. I encourage it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to conduct a research on how English reading skills can be improved in young Nigerian children. So any information you give us here will be highly confidential, and also it's basically for academic purposes only. So you feel free to say yes or no, correct or incorrect answers. We thank you so much for signing the consent form. So may we know your name, please?
My name is Ngozi Liliana Okechukwu.
Okay, so number of years of teaching experience?
5 years.
Current teaching grade level?
Reception class.
Reception class. So educational specialty?
BSc.
Highest level of degree?
BSc.
Okay. Educational specialty, what did you read in school?
Environmental science.
Language used in teaching?
English.
Okay, so what do you understand by reading?
Reading is a process or a way of getting meaning from print, symbols, or written documents.
So how important is reading in your class?
Reading is very important to the pupils because it enhances their learning. It also develops their self-confidence, and it broadens their horizon.
Okay, so what is your students' general reaction on reading?
Generally, it stimulates their cognitive development, and also it boosts their morale. That's encourage them to read more.
Okay, like now in class now, what do you think is their reaction when it comes to reading?
It makes them smarter, and they're excited to read.
Okay, they're so happy to
Yes,
read.
they're very, very excited.
So now, are all your students reading at the same level, grade level?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so what is the percentage that are not reading?
10%. It's 10%. 10 to 100.
Is the school aware of the percentage?
Yeah, they are.
What are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading in your reception class?
One of the challenges, inability to recognize the words
Okay.
and to understand, that is to comprehend.
Okay.
Another one is, not having the self-confidence.
Okay.
Those are
So what are you doing as a teacher to help them
So
overcome this?
I use all the materials available. I also use myself as an example because I have to read first, and now for them to understand. Now I make them to read with me, and after I ask them questions, because by asking them questions, you are making them to you now find out the area where they're lacking and devise a means to build it or to correct it.
So what are your current teaching methods on reading, on teaching reading?
I read to the people. I read to my children. The purpose of my class. I ask questions. I also use myself as an example.
Okay. So which methods do you actually use? Do you use phonics methods, synthetic phonics, old language method, alphabetic approach? What are you using?
I use alphabetic approach and synthetic.
Okay. So give us more detail on why you use them.
Alphabetic method are the ones that you have your letters.
Okay.
This one helps them to recognize the letters. While synthetic is one you segment and blend.
Okay.
And if a child knows an alphabet and knows the sound, it's easier for a child to segment and blend and now pronounce the words.
Okay.
So that's why I use the two methods.
So can you give me 5 reasons why you think that these 2 methods are working for you?
One, it makes the children to it's easier to assimilate, that is to understand. Another one is it makes them easier to read, because if a child understands this sound, it makes the child to read fluently. The reading becomes easier for a child. Then another reason is that it stimulates their intellectual cognition. Then another reason is that it encourages them, because they already know this sound or the letters. It now boost them or encourage them to read more. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how will you rate the performance of the students using this method? How will you rate their performance?
Their performance is 100%. They are 100% when it comes to this method because they know their phonics and their letters. 100%.
Okay, now we are going to identify your best practice in reading. Now, what are your best practices to enhance the teaching of reading?
Okay, my best practice is, like I said, is the read identification. You identify your letters, then you read. That is a synthetic practice.
Like every morning now, what
Okay.
you do as
The
as
first,
read?
yeah, I use it as morning drill and everyday practice,
Okay.
everyday rehearsal. No, when they come in the morning for 1 hour, they use it as morning drill, which is their consonant clusters, phonics words, their digraph.
Yeah.
We'll do it as morning drill every morning, and continuous constant practice make the children to do better.
So, how do you hope to improve on this your method?
It's a constant learning, training.
Okay, on your part.
Yes, constant training.
So, how did you come across this method?
It's by training. I was trained
On your own, or you learned from the school, or you
from
researched?
the school.
So, how long did it take the school to train you?
It's on daily basis. We
Okay,
train.
but you have to. Did you learn it within a month, or 2 months, or 3 months? How did you learn?
It's
How long did it take you to
3
learn?
months.
3 months. Okay. Did you create an opportunity? Do you create an opportunity for students to ask questions in your class,
Yes.
or build upon what they learned before in reading?
Before, like in our when it comes to our lesson notes, you give a child you give a child the opportunity to ask questions.
Yeah.
By asking that question, you know the area this child is lagging behind. So it not help you to, it not help the teacher to work on child on that particular area. So I give them the opportunity to ask questions. Okay, and yeah, when they ask the question, you now answer, and by answering, it even help other ones that that you were not able to ask to get the correct answer or to know what to do.
Okay. Do you offer corrections or feedback to thank the students' ability?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that the students always understand any correction?
Yes, I do.
How do you assess the level of reading of your students?
The level is 100%.
No, like now, the level of reading in your class, how do you do the testing? How do you know the level of reading of the children?
Okay, after reading, I ask questions.
Okay.
I call them also to read. And after reading,
Is that the way you get to know how they're reading? How well they're reading? Do you do any form of standardized tests
okay,
or
yes.
reading tests to ascertain their level, their
Like-
particular level in reading?
Like every weekend or two weeks, weekend, we have a test. We normally conduct a test
Reading tests.
on reading test. So you call them one after the other to read, and you check their speed and their accuracy and the pronunciation of the words.
Okay.
Those are the areas we check.
Okay, do you know the name of the test, reading test?
The name of the test, reading test.
Or reading assessment.
We
So
just-
how do you hope to improve on this method?
I constantly taking the children on the reading text, assessing them on that area, their pronunciation, their speed limit, and the identification of the words.
Did you receive any relevant training for assessing the level of reading?
Yes, from my school.
Okay. But you don't know the name of the training. Do you think you require further training on this, on assessing reading of?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so can you tell us any other thing we need to know on how to improve reading skills of children? Apart from all these questions, is there anything you can tell us?
One thing I have to say is this, that the children, one of the approaches that we mentioned some approaches is for you to get closer to a child, make them comfortable with you, and always take them on constant assessment, like weekly assessment. It helps you to ascertain or to know the area this child is not doing well and work on it. And by constantly doing the correction, this children comes out of that particular level and move higher. So their speed limit, constant assessing on reading,
calling them so that, constant reading helps a child to be fluent in reading and comprehend more. So that is the area I just want to.
Mrs. CHIDINMA AGBAI. I'm here to conduct a research on how English reading skills can be improved in young Nigerian children. So I assure you that any information given to us here will be highly confidential, and it will be used specifically for academic purposes only. So you have the right to say yes or no, accurate or inaccurate answers can be given. So thank you for signing the consent form. So may we know your name, please?
My name is Uchechi Wabaka.
Okay, so what's your number of years of teaching experience?
4 years of teaching experience.
What is your current teaching grade? What class are you teaching?
Foundation.
Foundation. So educational specialty, what did you read in school?
Primary education.
Primary education. So what's your highest level of degree?
NCE.
Language used in teaching?
English.
So what do you understand by reading?
Reading is a continuous process. It's a cognitive approach used in decoding words that enable one to read and at least understand what reading is all about.
So how important do you think reading is in your classroom?
Reading in a classroom is very important because one, it helps you to know the ability of the child, at least to know if actually what you're doing in the class is being understood by the pupil, as in giving them book to read, at least they can be able to read.
What is your children's, students' general reaction as regards to reading?
Very excited. Yeah, they pick interest in reading.
They love reading.
They love reading.
Okay. So are all your children reading at the same level?
No,
What percentage are not reading?
10%.
10%. So is the school aware of the percentage?
Yes, they are.
What are the main challenges for students when it comes to reading?
Some of them have this phobia, fear, lack of concentration. Some don't just need stress.
So what can the teachers do to overcome these challenges? As a teacher, what would you do?
One, you just have to bring that child closer, let the child know that reading, there's no harm in reading. And you also need to do a follow-up by giving the child a book at least at the level at which the child is, in order to help build the reading skill.
So what are your current teaching methods or strategies on teaching reading in your classroom?
I use the synthetic method approach.
So give me more details on how you do that.
Yes, it has to do with more of segmenting and blending.
Okay.
Yes, for the child to understand, when you see a word, instead of you to segment the word and give the pronounce the word, and also blend words.
Okay.
Really,
Now, do you use alphabetic approach in your school, in your class? Alphabetic, phonics approach, synthetic approach, then whole language approach. Do you use any of these methods? Or you use only synthetic phonics approach? So tell us 5 reasons why you think this method is effective in your class.
Yes. One, it helps in developing self-confidence.
Okay.
Approach to reading as a segment where you see words and know what the words stand for and pronounces it. Also, zeal to read.
Okay, the zeal and
Confidence to read. Always find it interesting. And it helps in words, in long words to pronounce words, help them to segment and understand what they are doing.
Okay. How do you rate the performance of the students using this method?
Yeah, 90%.
90%. So what do you think is the best practice to enhance this teaching of reading in your class? What do you do?
Yes, as a teacher, I think the best thing you need to do when you find that something is lacking in terms of reading, one is a follow-up. Proper follow-up, don't just leave the child and look for the actual book. Since you're helping a child to get used to the reading, you look for the level of book that is suitable for that child at that moment. with a constant follow-up, give words, some words, and ask the child to study, to pronounce words, and
Do you do this on a daily basis?
yes.
Okay. So how do you hope to improve on this method?
For me to improve on this method, actually I have to improve on my own self too. More studies to help improve that of the children too. Constant follow-up.
How did you come across this method? Did you learn it on your own or your research, or you were trained by the school?
I was trained by the school.
What is the duration of the training?
6 months.
6 months. So do you create opportunity for students to ask questions in your class?
Yes, I do.
Or to build upon what they have learned before?
No.
Okay. So now, in your class now, do you offer corrections?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So do you think the children understand every correction you give them?
Yes, with proper explanation, they do.
They will understand this. How do you assess the level of reading of your children in your class? Do you do any sort of reading tests, standardized tests? How do you know their level?
They're being assessed.
How? Is there any particular name for the reading test?
At least they have books with their level. They use the level of books, depending on the child's
Level books.
yes, depending on the child's ability. Since all are not reading on the same pace.
So they're not
them.
doing any reading test at all?
They do.
Okay. But do you know the name of the testing? Okay. So you don't know. So now, did you receive a particular training based on the level of to assessing the level of reading of the children? Were you trained to assess the level of reading of your children?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think you require further training on this?
Yes, I do.
So what else can you tell us, apart from all these questions we asked, what else can you tell us on how to improve reading in young children in Nigeria?
Okay. When you talk of reading, when you talk about reading, not everyone, even to the adult, not everyone is conversant with reading. But for one to improve reading in a child, you don't just need to give a child book, you need to follow up. Give the child the book which you feel at that level the child can carry. Not to just bring up books and just give to a child to read. Follow the child with the ability, and it takes up from there.